The land between the Tigris and Euphrates stretches wide across the ancient earth. People once called it the land between two rivers, Mesopotamia. Today it lies mostly in southern Iraq. But thousands of years ago, it was the place where human civilization first took shape. Yet this land was never gentle. The rivers flooded without warning, changing their paths again and again. Floods swept away entire settlements, and droughts cracked the soil open. In this harsh and unpredictable world, people had to find a new way to survive. Their answer was to control water. They dug canals from the rivers, built levees, and created reservoirs to store water. These projects were far too large for any one person. People worked together, and cooperation created organization. Organization became leadership, and leadership became the foundation of a community. In these early efforts, civilization was quietly beginning. Controlling water was more than a farming technique. Who managed the canals? Who decided when water should be released? These questions soon became questions of power. Water meant life, and those who controlled water controlled the people. Early leaders were those who mastered the rivers, and their authority soon took on a sacred quality. As time passed, cities began to rise across Mesopotamia. Uruk or Lagash, these were not simple villages. They were large, complex societies, where thousands of people lived together, each with a different role. At the center of each city stood a massive stepped temple called a ziggurat. People believed it connected heaven and earth, a place where the gods could descend. The temple was the heart of the city, religious center, administrative center, and economic center all at once. Priests interpreted the will of the gods and managed water, grain, and labor. As cities grew, society became more structured. Farmers, craftsmen, merchants, priests, and kings each formed their own place in the social order. With larger cities came a new problem. Memory was no longer enough. Who delivered grain? Who owned which field? What goods were traded and where did they go? To manage all this, people created the world's first writing system, cuneiform. Small wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay tablets changed everything. Writing allowed information to be stored, shared, and controlled. Knowledge became power, and those who could read and write became an elite group who managed the city's affairs. Technology advanced quickly. People learned to make bronze tools and weapons. They developed early mathematics and astronomy. The idea of dividing a day into 24 hours and a circle into 360 degrees began here. By watching the sky, they predicted seasons and planned farming and religious ceremonies. Civilization was becoming more precise and more organized. But as cities multiplied, so did conflict. They fought over water, land, and trade routes. Lagash and Umma fought a long war over a single canal, leaving records filled with complaints and accusations. War became a constant part of life, and armies became essential to every city. Out of this chaos rose a remarkable figure, Sargon of Akkad. He was not born into royalty, yet he became one of history's first great conquerors. He united many city-states and created the world's first empire. His empire did not last long, but it introduced a new idea. One ruler controlling many peoples and many lands. This idea shaped every empire that came after. Later came Hammurabi, king of Babylon. He believed that order should come from law. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. His famous law code was not just a list of punishments. It was the first attempt to write down rules for how a society should function. Law strengthened the king's authority, but it also gave ordinary people a measure of protection. Civilization was now guided not only by power, but by written principles. The people of Mesopotamia saw the world through the relationship between gods and humans. The gods were all-powerful, and humans were their servants. Every blessing and every disaster came from divine will. This belief shaped their stories, especially one of the oldest stories ever written, the Epic of Gilgamesh. In this tale, King Gilgamesh searches for eternal life. Through his journey, he learns that death is unavoidable, and that meaning must be found in the life one has. This story is the first written exploration of human existence, fear, friendship, and mortality. Mesopotamian myths carried deep meaning. Flood myths explained the destructive power of nature. Creation myths explained why humans must serve the gods. These stories influenced later cultures, including Hebrew, Greek, and Persian traditions. For thousands of years, Mesopotamian civilization rose and fell. Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans all passed through this land. Eventually, the original cities faded, buried under sand and time. But their legacy never disappeared. Cities, laws, writing, empires, timekeeping, mathematics. Many of the ideas we use every day began here. The land between two rivers was the stage where humans first learned to shape nature, build societies, and question their own existence. Mesopotamia was not just an ancient civilization. It was the moment humanity became something more than a collection of tribes. It was the beginning of civilization itself.